Hey guys, how's it going? So, as most of you know, I'm in a pretty major renovation here, and I'm working on the living room now. Well, actually, the living room is pretty well done, as you can see. I built this fireplace, which I really love. It's got a marble front on it. It houses the TV and this electric fireplace. And I built this nice walnut mantle to go on it. But I did run into a little problem, and that's the fireplace. The fireplace I ordered specifically for this whole mantle setup ended up being on back order, and I just found that out, and it would be a long time before I'd get it. So I ended up having to get one that doesn't quite fit the same way as the other one does, and I'm left with this ugly gap around my tile. I don't know if you can see that or not. So what I'm thinking is to get some walnut to match the mantle and kind of picture frame this in around, and hopefully that will clean it up and give it a nice look. Alright, so I got all my maple pieces dimensioned and actually cut to the final length too. And I was just about to get ready to do the joinery, which I was going to use my slot mortiser and a couple of floating tenons. But I got thinking the sides of this is going to be quite visible, and I thought maybe it would be pretty cool if you could see some kind of joinery. So I thought maybe I would use a floating tenon, what would be visible on each corner, and use Paduke, which would be a nice accent, which wouldn't be too much contrast like maple would be, but you would still notice it. So I'm going to go that route and see how it turns out. So once I had my spline made out of the Paduke, which was about 5/16 of an inch thick, I could go ahead and essentially make two mortises on each end of the joint. And I'm going to do that using my tenoning jig. Because both sides of the joint on all four corners are the exact same, I just had to position the jig once and then do all 8 passes. And then reposition the jig for the second pass, and then again do all 8 passes. And that way there I would ensure that all my joints ended up being the exact same. Alright guys, so before I start doing all the finished sanding, I brought it up here just to see how it fits. And one thing I knew was going to be a problem is this marble is what they call 3D, and they're just all different thicknesses. So that makes it so that the frame doesn't really sit flush against the fireplace. So to combat that problem, I'm not going to try to trace out every single one, but there is a few that are extremely high or higher than the rest of them. So I'm going to mark those. Then I'll just take a straight bit and my trim router, and I'll make a small recess for all those high tiles. You see that? My hand just touched that router bit. I am really lucky. I don't think it's deep enough to even need stitches, but what a scare. Look at that, just skimmed it. That could have been way worse. All what happened there is me being careless, not paying attention to where I grabbed it, and I'm pretty sure I grabbed it in there. Got my finger in there somehow. Alright guys, so the last thing I did is put a coat of paste wax around the whole thing, and I also epoxied a few magnets in the corners, and that's what's going to hold it into place. I do need to be able to remove this if I ever want to take this insert out. So. There, as you can see, it just pops into place. I hope you guys like this project. If you do, please give me a big thumbs up, and if this is your first time here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm Ryan Nodwell, and thanks for watching.